What's up, guys? Welcome back to the one and only Rant Roller Sports. All right. Bootleg Studios in effect, of course. You know, got a lot to say every day in a major way. So tune in, like, share, and subscribe. And we're going to have an interesting topic today. It's only going to be one topic, but I can't promise that this is going to be under an hour because the video that I'm going to base this topic off of is about 45 minutes. Let me explain to you what I'm going to do. We're going to listen in together. I don't want to show it up, hold the camera up, my phone up for a whole 45 minutes. So I'm just going to let you hear the audio. I'll occasionally put the phone up so that you can get a visual. But we're going to listen to the audio. It's a very interesting conversation. The golden era of point guards, comparing different eras of point guards, and the impact and effect of point guards today versus yesterday. I think it's a very interesting and valid conversation. And I hope you guys tune in and chime in the comment section and give your opinion on it. Lately, guys have been kind of scared to comment. I'm going to bite your head off or something, but, if you watch the video and you're interested in the subject and you find it interesting, chime in. This is an interactive show. This is not just me as a guy up on YouTube grandstanding and you all must listen to me and my opinion is above all. No, this is why I want it to be interactive. Come on in, give your opinion. Even if you want to do it live, I'll acknowledge you. If you come in live, if we don't agree with each other, we can talk about it live. I'm not going to disrespect you. I might disagree with you, but I'm not going to disrespect you. And I don't expect you to disrespect me. Right? But let's get right into it. This is a discussion that Gilbert Arenas had with his compadre on his podcast or his YouTube show about the golden era of point guards. And his partner stated to him that he believed that we are in the golden era of point guards. Do I necessarily agree with that? Not necessarily. I believe we're in the middle of a coaching revolution more so than a golden era of point guards. But I'm going to play the the video. You guys are going to hear the audio. I'm going to flash it up on the camera a couple of times. And chime in. Feel free to chime in because I'm going to pause the video where I agree with them or I want to add something to the mix, to the conversation, or whether I disagree with them. And we're going to do it like that, all right? So come take this ride with me.
I changed the point guard position.
You can say that.
I mean, I did.
I think you said it a lot.
I did.
Excuse me, folks. I just skipped past the damn video. Pardon me.
I changed the point guard position.
You can say that.
I mean, I did.
I think you said it a lot.
That's Gilbert Arenas talking, that he changed the point guard position.
I was a hybrid. Back then, they didn't like hybrid, so I wasn't a 1, wasn't big enough to be a 2. So I had to figure out how to survive with not knowing how to run the team. Because you got to remember, when I came in, John Stockton's still in, Gary Payton's still in, Steve Nash didn't turn to Steve Nash yet like that.
I don't know how loud this is picking up on my mic on you guys' end, so bear with me if it's a little loud. Just turn down the volume.
What's going on?
Look, say my name for Briggs.
Present yourself.
Okay.
So, Gil, we got to take a moment because there is a moment right now in basketball, and we have to recognize what era we are living in currently, and it's the golden era of the point guard. Right now is the best group of point guards the game has ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Fine, we've examined that definition a lot. And if you look at how athletic they are, how skilled they are, how prepared they are, It makes a lot of sense to say that it's evolved to the best era of point guards ever.
I mean, of course, this is going to be the best era at this moment in time because it's evolution.
But if you look at numbers too, where these guys are, I mean, Chris Paul just is up the ladder on assists, passing what you would say is magic, and he's, next up is Mark Jackson. Yeah, Mark Jackson, Steve Nash, John Stockton. I don't feel reached Stockton, but and then the fact that the all-time numbers are getting checked off by guys that are still active and still have gas left in the tank, they'll blow them out of the water.
Yeah, you can't judge records being broke and say it's because they're better. That's not necessarily true.
I agree.
I think they're also set up to succeed.
Yeah, so then you can't say they're better if they have a handicap to succeeding. So if back in the day an assist was straight pass to score, now it's pass, create a shot. You would give the point guard from the 80s and 90s more respect than you would the ones now on assists. Because if you average 13 assists, it was 13 made assists that you got. Here, you can pass me the ball at half court. I can dribble, shake, step back, and you actually get an assist for it. So if you have 13 and I'm averaging 8, my 8 is still suspect versus, assists where it was, and you have to score.
I agree.
I get that. But I think the reason why we are here is because the emphasis is on the position. Because you think about the 80s, how it was 70s, 80s. What'd you do? Get the ball to the big man. Mm-hmm. That was a point guard's job, right? Then the scorer became dominant, 2 guards, and, guys like...
I have to stop him there. I'm going to periodically stop this where I disagree. He said that the point guard of yesteryear's primary job was to get the ball to the point guard. I think he's looking at just the John Stockton, Steve Nash type of point guard. He's totally ignoring Walt Clyde Frazier, who was a scoring point guard, Kevin Johnson, Isaiah Thomas, Penny Hardaway. I mean, I could go on and on. Tim Hardaway. I could list numerous point guards who were actually scorers and were probably the best scorers on their teams, and it wasn't in this modern era. But I'm going to let them continue.
Michael Jordan or, Kobe, or they evolved to where that was the focus of an offense. And now it's all in the point guard's hand. The offense runs through them. They can score for themselves. They can distribute. It's just that's...
Even during Michael Jordan's second three-peat, 1996, he went to the finals against Gary Payton-led Sonics teams. And obviously, Gary Payton was the best player on that team and the best scorer on that team. Even though Sean Kemp had the highlight dunks, Gary Payton led them in scoring. So once again, he's a little bit misguided.
That doesn't make them better. Like, it's not...
They're set up to succeed is what we're saying.
The role has changed. The role has been redefined at this moment in time. So before they were set the team up, manage the clock, get it to the big man, get players open that can't get themselves open. That is not the emphasis now. So you can't say this is the golden era when the rules, the mindset has changed, the position has changed. So
coaching has
now
changed.
The guards don't actually have to get anybody involved. They can just be dominant scorers. That doesn't mean they're better or they evolve. It's just the responsibility has changed.
If you look at football, who gets paid the most?
Quarterback.
Makes sense, right? Offense runs through them. They set everything up. They can take and run with it for themselves. They can score for them, take a real goal line for themselves. But if the quarterback doesn't play well, team's not going anywhere, especially on offense. It's about scoring.
But
I have to add to that. If the offensive line doesn't play well, the quarterback does not play well and the offense does not play well. It all starts with the offensive line.
If you fast rewind time, the running back was the highest paid
Used to be,
player.
right.
So again, the rule
Correct.
has changed. Because if you have a great running back, you don't really
shut him down.
You don't really need a quarterback. If your quarterback can pass.
I would add to that, Gilbert, that if you have a great running game, multiple running backs where they can't key in or tie or wear down one, it's proven that you can win with a running game and a defense and a quarterback who just manages the game, converts third and shorts, third and 4, third and 5, third and 7, maybe third and 10, but doesn't get backed up to where he has to play hero quarterback, getting you out of a 3rd and 30. All right, I would just add that.
Everybody else sucks because at the end of the day, how great is a quarterback if the receivers can't catch the ball?
Or the offensive line can't block.
They're not Jerry Rice or T.O. or Randy Moss, but it's perfect to compare
Or
those
if they
two
can't get
because
open.
the running back, similar to the big man, right? You could put 11 guys, stack the box, and shut down a running back.
Actually, that's false.
Hold up, let me finish.
This guy here, and I'm going to show him, who's sitting here talking with Gilbert Arenas. He's going to make some good points in this show, but he's really misguided, and he would get tore up in a sports debate because you cannot compare the running back position to the center position in basketball. It's really hard to compare any position to a football position because you're only playing one way on football. There's offensive players, there are defensive players. There are very few players like Deion Sanders and a handful of others that were successful playing both sides of the ball. All right, so to compare the NBA center, NBA big man to the NFL running back is really just ridiculous. But I'll let him continue.
Okay.
And same with the big. You could foul them out. Okay. They can't shoot free throws. That was proven. That's how it evolved. That's how we got there.
Well, with a point guard
He said bigs can't shoot free throws. See, this is a guy that's just watching. I don't know what era of basketball that he's comes out of or that he started watching basketball. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar made free throws. So did Robert Parrish. So did the Pistons bigs from that bad boy Pistons era. With the exception of maybe Dennis Rodman. The Chicago Bulls, big men. They were role players. None of them were particularly great, but they knocked down their free throws. Patrick Ewing, David Robinson, Hakeem Olajuwon, Alonzo Mourning. Shall I go on? All of these guys were knocking down free throws. Yao Ming. So what is he talking about?
today's point guard, I don't need my team to be good. I can do this shit myself. Running back, give me the ball, Barry Sanders. I don't have an offensive line. I'm just gonna make my way through this shit.
But there were times in his career, he's one of the greatest, but there are times he got shut down, especially in the postseason.
But
didn't have the horses that way.
But look how much he done without anybody. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing with a point guard. I can just dominate. Yeah, I can't go far, but I can do it.
He's speaking about the great running back of the Detroit Lions, Barry Sanders, who retired, I believe, second or third on the all-time rushing list, probably third, behind Walter Payton and Emmitt Smith. Barry Sanders, see, I got to add context to this. Barry Sanders, for years, ran behind a mediocre offensive line, average at best offensive line. They might have had one Pro Bowler in there, here and there, but they were, for his majority of his career, he ran behind an average offensive line. I'm not going to say they were terrible, but they weren't great either. He also ran behind average quarterbacks. Rodney Peete comes to mind as the quarterback I remember seeing with him the most. And then there were a handful of others. Not a handful, there were a few others, but they were all mediocre game-managing quarterbacks that couldn't really go out and win you games or take the pressure off the run game. Sometimes the passing game has to take the pressure off a dominant run game so they don't stack the box, key in on your running back, and shut that down. Because the only way that happens is if they have no fear of you, like Shannon Sharp saying, taking the top off the defense and throwing the long ball down the field, throwing the ball over the top of the coverage. All right. If they have no fear of that, then yes, they can stack the box, key in on the run game, and shut it down. But it's within certain contexts that happens.
A center can't do it if they can't get the ball up the court.
A guy like David Robinson could dominate a game for a while, but again, before they had the Tim Duncan and Pop era, they never really got there.
Again, this guy, I don't know who this guy is that is sitting here talking with Gilbert Arenas, but this guy, he would get eaten up in the sports debate, man. He said David Robinson could dominate a game for a little while, but then David Robinson didn't have another legitimate all-star playing next to him until Tim Duncan was drafted. And then they were still playing the same type of basketball as the era before. A slow down, half court, defensive oriented, throw the ball down into the big, whether it was David Robinson or Tim Duncan, and they played extremely well off each other because they both could shoot the mid-range shot as well as post up. This guy doesn't have no clue what he's talking about.
But the football-basketball comparison with point guards and quarterbacks is perfect right now because if
No,
you
it's not.
do in the NFL, let the quarterback create. Give them free reign. Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray. Go in the NBA.
That only happens because of the rule changes that I explained before in a previous video when I was talking about Tom Brady. The rule changes have afforded the passing game the ability to thrive in today's NFL. Why you think they didn't have guys in the 80s, 70s, and 60s throwing the ball 50 times a game because a quarterback would get killed? Not today, because the rule changes have protected the quarterback, the wide receiver, and the tight end, not the running back, by the way. The running back still gets smacked to hell. This is why they're always hurt. But the wide receivers, tight ends, and the quarterback have been afforded protection by rule changes, which have allowed them to be unintimidated going across the middle, throwing all type of slant routes because they don't have to worry about their heads being taken off. This guy doesn't have a clue. Let's continue.
Run the offense through your point guard. They can facilitate. They can score. They can get other guys involved. Your team, your offense will perform better. Mm-hmm.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Change the point guard position.
You can say that.
I mean, I did.
I think you said it.
I did.
Why dating a young Latin woman is a good option?
But let's look around the league. What these guys are doing, it's unique, and the greatness we're saying is at the point guard position. And you tell me.
The greatness is in the point guard position right now.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Steph Curry, Dame Lillard, Russell Westbrook.
I slightly disagree. Like I just made in a live, a couple lives ago, the one before last, I spoke about how the forward position has come to the forefront and claimed dominance. If you look at the last 6 championships, they were not led by point guards. Their teams were led by forwards.
Kyrie, and Young, John Morant, Trae Young, Luka, De'Aaron Fox.
You haven't named one person that has over 10,000 assists.
Chris Paul.
You didn't say Chris Paul.
I'm getting there.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
But I'm glad you say that. So if you look at the all-time assist board right now, in the top 15 active players, Rondo, Westbrook is now in there. Mm-hmm. Chris Paul, obviously up there in the top 5, and that's mentioned LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what it was with LeBron. He shifted that.
Shifted what?
Because your comparison with him is Magic, and he could be that version of a player.
He shifted what?
The emphasis on the point guard. It wasn't run LeBron up the floor and fit him in the post.
Mm-hmm.
Have LeBron bring the ball up the floor. Run the offense.
I'm gonna be cocky here.
Well, how can he say LeBron emphasized the the shift in the point guard position when LeBron falls from the Scottie Pippen, Larry Bird point forward tree. Larry Bird, Scottie Pippen, Grant Hill, LeBron James. All very similar in the fact that a lot of times the offense ran through them at the small forward position and they brought the ball up and handled the ball and passed like guards. But there were guys doing it before LeBron. So how can he say LeBron is the one who put the emphasis on the point guard position? Once again, this guy is a little clueless. This is why Gilbert is constantly grinning at him. You guys don't always see it. I'm not always showing the visual, but Gilbert Arenas, every time he makes a dumb comment, Gilbert Arenas makes a face.
Change the point guard position.
You can say that.
I mean, I did.
I think you said it a lot.
I did.
Yeah.
I mean, because when I came in, I was a hybrid. Back then, they didn't like hybrid, so I wasn't a 1, wasn't big enough to be a 2. So I had to figure out how to survive with not knowing how to run a team. Because you got to remember, when
this camera has an issue with glare, folks. I apologize.
And Steve Nash didn't turn to Steve Nash yet like that. You still got Jason Kidd. You got
AI.
AI was a shooting guard, so they have him in the top something in point guard. He was labeled a shooting guard because they had Eric Snow as the point guard.
Correct.
So the point guard still actually ran the offense. You had Andre Miller.
Thank you for the like, whoever came in with that. Appreciate it.
Travis Best was still here. Terrell Brandon was still here. It was actual point guards.
Prototypical.
It was yes.
So the reason I brought up AI, and to lead that to you, giving your praise, the label of a ball hog fell into that.
Like I said before, Gilbert Arenas is totally glossing over the fact that guys like Tim Hardaway, Kevin Johnson, KJ of the Phoenix Suns, Penny Hardaway, and a few others were scoring point guards. Isaiah Thomas from the Pistons fame, Detroit Pistons, he was the best scorer on that team. All right, you had guys that was more scoring oriented. Even Terry Porter from the Portland Trailblazers was a scorer. It's just that they've had so many scorers, he toned his game back as well. All right, you had scorers who were point guards pretty much in every era. You had Tiny Archibald lead the league in scoring and assists. You had Oscar Robertson. So this is nothing new that you have a point guard or point guards that are scoring the basketball or who are the best scorers on their team. This is nothing new. The only difference is the rule changes emphasize the three-point shot. Well, not the rule changes. The coaching philosophy changes. Emphasize small ball, emphasize shooting from every position. So the point guard has a lot more room now to roam in the paint because he can spread everybody out because everybody can shoot. All 4 other guys can shoot. And he has way more room to get into the paint, a la Kyrie Irving, James Harden, John Morant, Dame Dollar, any of these guys. The paint is wide open now because of the floor spacing and the shooting skill of all 5 positions. But I'm going to let him continue.
If you were the point guard that brought up the floor and all these guys are saying they're open and you're going to shoot your shot, he's a ball hog.
Mm-hmm.
Make your shots. But
he wasn't labeled a ball hog because they shifted him to the shooting guard.
If you haven't seen this already, folks, I'm going to show you what I'm watching.
They didn't know what to do with him until they said, all right, you know what? He's an undersized 2, but he is a scorer.
Mm-hmm. And that's what they did. So he didn't change the point guard position to allow the point guard.
I don't know why this camera picks up all this glare.
Just
I
to
don't
clarify
know what's
that
the deal.
Where you came in was at that time 2. He was doing his thing in Philly in the prime of his career. You're
as a shooting guard.
As a shooting guard. Mm-hmm. You came in as a point guard that was saying, like, look, I can score. I can bring the ball up.
I can bring the ball up. I can run a team. We can win games. We can win. You can win games with this guy because remember they didn't understand it. Those guys was drafted. I mean, you're talking about guys who couldn't get. I mean, guys who didn't get chances. But once I succeeded, now you got Ben Gordon, who's a number 3 pick, and they know how to play him now. So you got to remember when I won Most Improved. Me and Earl Boykins was on the court together.
And this is why you didn't go far.
He was a shooting guard.
This is why you got knocked out of the playoffs every year.
You know what I mean? And we got our 5'5" guy guarding the shooting guard. You know, now
Trying to
you
guard the
see
shooting
how that
guard.
works. Now you have Dame and
CJ.
That's AI and that's when they try to do the AI and the Lou. They AI and Larry Hughes. You know, they was trying it, but that's why that failed, because they wanted AI to be the 2, Larry to be the point to run the team. But Larry Hughes, I'm a 2. You know what I mean?
You're trying. That's the thing. You can't. 2 2s together won't work.
Again, he has no idea what he's talking about. This guy's making, I don't know how many dumb comments per minute. Listen, he just said 2 2s together won't work. Well, how the hell does he think the Bulls went on a second three-peat? Dummy, Ron Harper, Michael Jordan, 2 shooting guards, 3 championships in a row. What is this guy talking about?
Today it does. Then it didn't, because what happens is you try to make one. You are a point guard. You know, instead of saying, no, you guys are guards, y'all figure it out.
Sorry, folks. LL chiming in. Luka for the championship. He said the hourglass is ticking. Okay, well, Luka has got to get some defenders around him, right? And he's got to get a solidified second star, because that guy that they got from the Knicks, what's his name again? Porzingis, he ain't it. He's talented, but he's brittle. And I don't know if he has the heart to really compete at a championship level. That remains to be seen. But I appreciate you for checking in, LL.
And let the guards figure it out. So that's why Ben Gordon and Kirk Heinrich can play. You know what I mean? One is the 2 guard is 6'1", and the point guard is 6'4", 6'5", and then that's when Duhan can come in, and then you have Pargo, all undersized guys. But because the stigma was gone, everyone survived.
That was where I was going to get to, is the stigma. So the ball hog stigma versus the shoot first term. Can we say that you brought that term?
Shoot first
point guard.
I don't know, because you're talking about a guy like Marbury, who averaged 8 assists, was considered a ball hog.
Sorry for the glare,
I
folks.
5, and it was like, shoot first. So depending on if they liked you or not, you know what I mean? It seemed like that, you know, depending on, you know, if they actually liked you.
I was thinking about Marbury. Do you think he went, what you say about Steve Francis, do you think he went for the oohs and ahs passes more than the setup pass, the extra pass?
I think they played the game the way they seen it. You know, point guards back then were flashy. Baron Davis was flashy. Marbury was flashy. Steve Nash was flashy. So
there we go, folks.
It seemed like to be successful at the point guard position, they held so much responsibility on the point guard position, when the point guard position actually didn't win championships. It didn't win championships. Like,
it's still not winning
being
championships.
John Stockton and those guys in that position,
except for Steph Curry,
you didn't win. You just didn't win. It showed that the shooting guard or the center, and your point guard is a defender or he hits open shots, that won.
So you said what the distributor point guard would look like in the modern era. What would that be?
In this era, the pure point guard?
Yeah.
The pure point guard now is your backup.
It's Chris Paul. That's the pure point guard of this era. Let me just get through these ads, folks. It's Chris Paul.
Don't want to run into this pumpkin. Harvest Jack is one scary cheap.
LO chimes in. Luka.
You say point guards
loves Luka.
History says, but he don't.
I didn't say that, but I do.
I agree.
Right
Luka's a great young talent.
That actually would have been the.
He just needs help.
Isaiah Thomas.
Yes. He was ahead of his time, but I think when it comes to
no, he wasn't. Again, A lot of these guys, even Gilbert Arenas, even I'm guilty of it sometimes. How can he say Isaiah Thomas was ahead of his time when you had Nate Tiny Archibald lead the league in scoring and assists, who was shorter than Isaiah Thomas? Come on, guys. Come on. If you're going to talk basketball, man.
And it's acceptable. And it's acceptable because you got to remember, Isaiah was, 6'1", Dumars 6'4". You know what I mean? So that was the first prototype of two guards that can do the same thing coexisting. What ended up happening is, because it was successful, you can't bash it. So the person who actually changed the stigma of the point guard and making it, oh, they're not ball hogs, it's Steph Curry. That's the guy that's the guard that made it.
That's not true. Once again, you had Tim Hardaway average over 20 points a game with Run TMC, right? He wasn't considered a ball hog. It was the style of play that they played. They played a fast play, small ball style. So there were shots that went around. You had other guys who scored the basketball. Kevin Johnson from the Phoenix Suns averaged 22 and 10 over a 4-year stretch. He was never considered a ball hog. I mean, you guys got to dig in your bag, your basketball crotch there, man, and really pull out the truth. LL says Luka can play the 1, 2, 3, and 4. I don't know how much longer he can play the 1, LL, because he has not gotten himself in prime shape. And I know for sure he can't stay in front of or guard the premier point guards of today. So somewhere along the line, Luka's going to slide over to the forward position. That's really where he should be, honestly, even if he plays the point forward, a la LeBron, Scottie Pippen, Larry Bird, Grant Hill, so on and so forth. Luka, he's going to get hurt if he tries to keep running around playing guards. He doesn't have the body type, which is making him a one-dimensional player. They need to slide him over to this forward spot so that he can rest a little bit more on defense, maybe keep guys in front of him. But I don't think Luka is going to continue to play the point guard full time. Just because, to me, he doesn't have the hang on, folks. He doesn't have the athleticism to hang with the best point guards of today. They're just too quick, too fast, too skilled. But thank you for chiming in, LL.
He was the first one to win since Isaiah.
They're talking about Steph Curry.
So Isaiah won too.
Once again, he's not the first one, a scoring point guard to win since Isaiah. They totally skipped over Tony Parker from the San Antonio Spurs. Once again, this guy sitting here talking with Gilbert Arenas would get eat up in a sports debate, man. How you going to gloss over Tony Parker, who dominated an era with winning, not with numbers, but he was a scoring point guard first, right? Much like Steph Curry, except his game was more driving to the basket, more mid-range shots and floaters than three-pointers.
Yeah.
That took you a long time. Come on.
You're talking about shoot first, so I got to think about,
from 88.
They forgot about Tony Parker.
2014.
But, shoot first can be, if you average 4 assists, you shoot first, 2 assists, 2 assists. But, volume shooter, yes. You being the best player on the team, yes.
And again, that's just the way things evolved, right? Michael Jordan took the league over. Right?
Not the best player, the best scorer, he meant to say.
Point guard, like guys like Gary Payton, John Stockton had that time in the 90s, but it was the Bulls' decade. Mm-hmm. Which is why we're in the
See, what happened when Michael Jordan took over? His dominance kind of hurt the NBA in a lot of ways because it made people totally forget about the other great players that was around at the time. Like I mentioned, I mentioned about 5 point guards who average close to 20 points a game, and they're talking about they've never seen a scoring point guard since Isaiah Thomas. What the hell are they talking about? But anyway, it's for good. Makes for good discussion, right?
Golden era right now.
It's the
I'm just saying, we can say it right now, put it out there right now.
It's a different.
You're going to look back at it 10 years.
I'm going to look back at it. You're going to look back at it in 10 years. You're going to look back at it in 10 years and have 6, 9 point guards throughout the whole league. And they're going to be saying, this is the golden era.
It's not, but you know,
you're going to have a whole bunch of Ben Simmons.
But that's the funny thing is everybody looks at Ben Simmons, or you can look at Luka, 6'7". It's not just size, though. You got to have IQ. There's something special about those guys.
Okay, so the difference is you got to remember the reason I got away with it, and this is what you're not thinking about. If you have a point guard that scores 20, 30, that means you don't have a shooting guard that's doing that.
Once again, did he even watch the Golden State Warriors? You had Steph Curry average 20, and you had Klay Thompson average 20. It's all about the offense that you're playing and the pace that the offense plays in. Look at James Harden and Westbrook when they played together. It wasn't the best pairing chemistry-wise, but they both were averaging 20 points a game. It's about the pace of play and the coach's offensive system, how many shots guys can get up in general. If you have a team that can only get up 70 shots, then yeah, only one of the two guys is going to be the man. But if you got a team getting up 95, 100, 110 shots a game, there's enough shots to go around. So once again, that's false.
So one of the guards, you got to remember, one of the guards is dominant, while the other one is docile.
Dame CJ, Russ Beal.
Yeah, that's now. That's now. They're coexisting now. So, but got to remember, before there was only one, right? There's one. So one had to sacrifice. So for me to average 29, that means my shooting guard wasn't the typical shooting guard. He was more of a defender, just like back in the day. So now those guys are figuring it out. But you got to remember, if it's two guards that's scoring, that means no one else on the team is scoring. So the two guards is basically front loading the points. And everybody else is all became defenders and passers.
So while we're here, let's do this. Who is your list? Who is the best ever top 5 point guards?
Ever?
Mm-hmm.
That's so unfair. Top 5 ever.
Mm-hmm.
Ever? Magic.
Mm-hmm.
John Stockton. LeBron.
You can't put him in the point guard list. That's not fair.
Makes sense.
I mean, I want to take. That's hard because kid didn't shoot. He wasn't designed to shoot. He wasn't trying to shoot, and was a defender.
2,000 more assists.
If he put LeBron in the point guard list, you have to put Scottie Pippen there. So
Nash
you can't do that.
Also, an amazing, just had amazing vision, but he can score like crazy. Like if he was today and said, "Yo, you ain't really gotta do that," you couldn't stop Nash. So it's.
I agree. Nash would have averaged more today, but his responsibilities would have been different.
I can't do the fifth one.
Listen, hang on. I'm going to help you.
I'm not even going to do the fifth.
No, because I think you're forgetting a few people.
I'm not forgetting.
So when people look at the top point guards ever, they're going to throw out. Of course, Magic is always at the top of the list. Stockton, all-time assist leader, also an all-time great. Isaiah, I think, definitely deserves more shine.
You forgot Isaiah Thomas.
Ahead of his time in the position. Big O.
I don't.
You look at history of Big O.
Okay.
People say he was a freak of nature in that era.
Cool.
J Kidd. I think at the numbers that he put up.
So what did I?
I'm just.
Oscar Robinson doesn't get nearly the credit he deserves.
Steve Nash, yes.
By the way,
Chris Paul, when it's all said and done, I think is better than your Nash and and J Kidd. Steph will be up there. And I got one for you. Clyde Frazier.
Bro, I just told you I can't. I didn't see him, so I wouldn't.
Come on, Gilbert.
He was the guy.
Come on now. I don't care if you saw him or not. I didn't see Clyde Frazier play either. But I know his pedigree. I know why he's still broadcasting for the Knicks. I know what he did for the Knicks. I didn't have to be there live to see him. See, Gilbert is making an excuse for his lack of knowledge. How you going to play the point guard position in the NBA and not be familiar with Clyde Frazier? This is why some of these players suck, because he actually could have learned how to play defense from Clyde. Gilbert Arenas played zero defense. He wore the number 0, and it might have stood for zero defense.
That when you talk about what Magic could do at his size, he could go score. When the Knicks won their 2 champions, 1970 and 1973, that was who ran the.
That's another thing. Magic gets the label of a pass first point guard who averaged 22, 23 points a game. This is why Magic was the best. A lot of people don't want to recognize Magic's scoring ability. He toned his game down for the sake of the team, for the sake of winning basketball, for the sake of keeping everybody involved. Magic is another one who could have averaged 25, 26, 28, 29, 30 points a game if he felt like going out to score every game. All right. Magic was not strictly a pass first point guard. He was I would say Magic was a combo guard. I know he gets the label of a pure point guard, but now knowing what we know now about basketball and the positions, Magic was a very talented combo guard, much like James Harden, Russell Westbrook. I don't know. I'm not going to put Russell Westbrook and James Harden Magic category because of their decision making late in games. But you understand what I'm saying. Bigger guards that can swing between either guard position and have skills outside of coming down the court, setting guys up, and just maybe getting an open mid-range shot here and there.
It wasn't Willis Reed came out of the tunnel. That was all famous. But when they needed points and went through their point guard, they went through Clyde Frazier.
That was the smartest thing this guy said all video long. And we're now up to 21 minutes of him making foolish comments. That was the first legitimate bona fide comment he's made so far.
Ahead of his time.
I can't even comment on it because I told you, like, if I didn't get to see it.
Come on. That's an excuse, Gilbert.
Right?
If I didn't get to watch it and view it, it's hard for me. It's hard for me to say yes or no.
But
so that's why I said that's why my list only starts where I can actually judge it.
But a 6'5" point guard in the 70s that attacked the basket, could shoot, could handle, would still create. That was a rarity.
True, but what about all the defenders in the 70s? I mean, grocery store clerks, bus drivers. I mean, whoever just they had a chance to get on the court. So that's what I said. It's so hard.
That's really disrespectful. That's really disrespectful, Gilbert.
It's kind of hard. That's why I said it's kind of hard for me to judge the era. To this era. So it's like, well, I can only go this far. So my list starts where
You can't do that. You can't do that.
You're really helping me out. Golden era is now. So
you know what? Nash and Kidd, I'm just gonna move to the side. Just move it to the side because
I think you want to put Nash over Kidd.
No, because the fact that this is all time.
How can you put Nash over Kidd when he's never been to the finals?
For pass first guys, because it's all time. Evolution kicks in.
Okay.
So I already have Magic and Stockton. I don't need 2 more geeks. So I'm gonna.
You did say Nash could score though.
Yeah, but not like Curry.
Okay. You're saying Pistol Pete is the most skilled point guard ever.
How do you judge Kyrie's skill versus his skill?
I don't agree with that either. You can't say somebody's the most skilled ever that didn't come close to winning a championship in the NBA. I'm sorry. Skill, if you're talking about the best ever, should translate to at least one championship. At least one. Okay, how was Pistol Pete more skilled than Isaiah Thomas? How was Pistol Pete more skilled than Magic Johnson? I mean, come on, give me a break. I mean, flashy Globetrotter stuff, is that really skill? Is that skill that translated into finals appearances and victories? No, it didn't. Magic's flashy style translated into championships. It's a big difference. But I'll let these fools continue. I don't want to call them fools. That's disrespectful.
Right now, that top 5 list. This is what we wanted to get to. Who's the top 5 right now? Which you have 3 apparently in your all-time. Who's top 5 right now? And they're better than the all-time top 5. And I'll give you what I got for currently top 5. Okay. Steph, Dame, CP, Westbrook, and Kyrie. When it's all said and done about their careers, will they be better than that top 5 that people would say arguably is the all-time?
Because I'm going to have LeBron, CP.
Wait, are you thinking or this is your official
CP,
5? Okay.
Curry, Russ, and
he keeps putting LeBron in the point guard
that's
position,
Kyrie's tricky,
which is not cool.
See, that's what I said. So, like, Kyrie's tricky because
Kyrie's got to be on the court to be in the top 5 right now. He doesn't even play games. Either he's hurt or he refuses to go in because of personal issues or the vaccine he doesn't want to take. So to be in the top 5 right now, you actually have to be on the court. So I don't agree that Kyrie is top 5 point guard right now. How has that translated since he left LeBron into playoff victories? That's really what it's all about. It ain't about regular season, juking and jiving and crossing over and embarrassing guys in the regular season. What are you doing come playoff time? Kyrie has done nothing since he left LeBron and even acknowledged how hard it was without LeBron. All right? Because Kyrie was basically playing the shooting guard while LeBron handled everything. All the offense ran through LeBron. Kyrie is not a natural point guard. He's not even as good a distributor as Steph Curry or Dame Dollar for that matter. He's a one-dimensional player that LeBron tried to mold into an all-around point guard, but Kyrie Irving is one-dimensional. Score, and score some more. Oh, before I let them continue, LL says J-Kid plays Luka and Jalen Brunson together. Luka had plus 23 and plus 31 for Jalen Brunson. Are you talking about one game? Are you talking about plus minus? I'm not sure what you mean by that, LL.
Out of all of them. Like, I mean, no matter, Curry getting his shot off, how Westbrook can just get to the basket at will.
Gets all the numbers.
Dame, range, his
Westbrook style does not translate to winning basketball, so he puts all these regular season numbers. See, there's guys that I call regular season stars or studs. They put up all these fantastic numbers in the regular season. When playoff time comes, they crumble. All right, and Russell Westbrook is one of the stat accumulators during the regular season. As soon as the playoff time come around, he lays an egg. Sorry. I don't consider Russell Westbrook a top 5 point guard right now.
His precision, his deadly, mindset at the end of the game. Kyrie is just a whole different breed.
How's he a different breed?
So it's really hard.
He hasn't translated into winning since he left LeBron.
We can't keep him out of the top 5 at all. It just like,
come on, camera.
Guards, he is the guard. You know what I mean? He is the guard. But the only reason that if you do leave him off, you're only leaving him off because Chris Paul is still here and LeBron is still here, sitting on 16 years and 18 years. You know what I mean? So you got to give the respect still to those guys who put in that work, and they're still here, so they're still relevant to the game.
And you're also saying that what Chris Paul has done more with less. And
Yeah,
that's really
but that's what I'm saying. But we're not judging it like time for time. You know what I mean? We're not saying, all right, the top 5 this year. You know what I mean? We're not doing that. We're saying the top 5 current. So when you say current, you have to like LeBron's career, 18 years. You know, you have CPs. So yeah, he might not be averaging the assists and stuff, but his stats and his game still applies to today. So it's Kyrie sitting there like, all right, can one of y'all just go so I can be number 1 or 2? You know what I mean? Because and that's the problem. That's the problem with it, because you got that guy who is in the top 5, but because people are still finishing out their careers, you can't take him out of it. Because you said active.
Kyrie is much like Iverson and should be moved to the shooting guard position.
Jason Williams.
All-time great?
I mean, no skill.
Oh, yeah. Incredible skill. Like Pistol Pete.
Okay, so where's your rate? Pistol Pete?
Can't put him in the top 5, but...
Why did he mention Pistol Pete? Just because they're both white?
Would you say he's the most skillful point guard that ever lived?
Ever lived?
Who's more skillful than him?
Magic Johnson.
Because I hear this a lot.
Isaiah Thomas.
Kyrie is the most skillful.
Kevin Johnson. Right. Tim Hardaway.
And then
I could go on and on.
How about Pistol Pete?
There's that category. Pistol Pete, Rod Strickland.
No. Pistol Pete.
You're saying Pistol Pete is the most skilled point guard ever.
How do you judge Kyrie's skill versus his skill? Kyrie is dribbling and creating moves. One created passes till this day has never been duplicated.
What the hell is he talking about?
No reference for this creativity. He just did it.
Okay, I have to stop you, Gilbert. There was a reference for Pistol Pete's average dribbling, ball handling, and passing. It's called the Harlem Globetrotters. See, this guy doesn't know his basketball history. Okay, Bob Cousy, Pistol Pete Maravich were influenced by the Harlem Globetrotters, who were the only ones doing those type of flashy passes, even though they were considered to be playing exhibition matches. In the very beginning, the Harlem Globetrotters were playing serious basketball. It wasn't just a clown show. Those guys had real skill, so much so that Wilt Chamberlain himself was a Harlem Globetrotter. But see, I'll let these guys continue. Both of them don't really know basketball, to be honest. But let's let them continue. I'll give Gilbert Arenas credibility because he played the game. But for you to be a point guard, an all-star point guard, and not know your basketball history, not even know your guard history, your point guard history, is shameful.
The copy he just created, and it still hasn't been done. Some of the passes we've seen him do, shoulder passes, it actually hasn't been duplicated. So if you think that the game has evolved and no one's done what he's done with passing and vision, you have to say his skill level in passing. Even Magic Johnson didn't do the passes he's done. You have to say
don't ever,
that skill.
ever mention Pistol Pete Maravich and Magic Johnson in the same sentence. Ever. Magic Johnson, 5 championships, 9 finals appearances. Pistol Pete, 0 championships. Ever mention Pistol Pete in the same breath as Magic Johnson? No, sir.
Was a very high skill. So how do you judge that passing and vision skill to this vision and dribbling skill?
I love what you're saying right now. You also say you didn't watch guys back before your time, so somehow you saw Pistol Pete. I don't know how that happened.
I watched who I wanted to watch.
Oh, okay.
Gilbert is full of it right now.
Who I wanted to watch. So I'm just
He's making excuses for his lack of knowledge.
When you have two players that's just different, but the skill level is very, very, very high. So, like, you can't say he's the most skillful guard because he's skillful in this type of skill.
But I love that too. The guys that had that's crazy to think that there was nobody in front of them, and this just all came from their imagination.
Yeah, him.
Right.
But that's
no,
why
he got it from the Globetrotters.
When someone says skill, like, he is the reference.
Everybody learns from somebody. Nobody is a complete original. No matter what it is you're doing.
But I'm saying, you think of what he did. We didn't really see that until White Chocolate did it, and he could throw an elbow pass.
But that was still mediocre.
That's one move. Throwing an elbow pass. Listen, how many championships did White Chocolate win where he was a starting point guard? He might have got a championship on that Heat team that won with Shaq. I don't know. I think he was a part of that team. But how much influence did he have on that championship? Or was it D-Wade taking over the whole damn series against the Mavericks? So what the hell has an elbow pass got to do with a championship? See, this is stupid talk right now. But I'll let him continue for the sake of the video.
We're talking about a time where dribbling was not evolved to palming here. There was
no crossover.
So like, if
it was against the rules, Gilbert.
Like all the moves now, Kyrie's moves, everything he does, and put him back in that time, 90% of what's being done is illegal. So the evolution and the changing of the rules gives this skill set. And he's maximized this skill set. He's changing.
He's wrong again. The evolution of the ball handling came off the playgrounds, strictly. Okay, so much so that the referees ignore the rules. They're still in place. The palming and carrying rules are still in place, but it became such a stylistic game, an artistic game, more of like ballet basketball, that the referees ignored palming and carrying because everybody does it now, because everybody adapted it, being able to shake people out their boots, carrying the ball between their legs, crossing over in front of behind their back on the playgrounds. It have nothing to do with rule changes, Gilbert. Holy smokes. And this guy was an NBA All-Star. I'm starting to agree with Skip Bayless now about guys who didn't play the game are able to see the game clearly, just as clearly as guys that played it at a high level. Now I have to agree with you, Skip, on that, because this guy Gilbert, I know more about basketball than this guy does, and he was an NBA All-Star. That's a damn shame.
That he's changing the rules everywhere he goes, but you're talking about a guy that. So it's like if someone says who is the most skillful person who's the most skillful guard, it's either right now Kyrie or Pistol Pete. It's not necessarily the talent, it's the skill. Like, so Kobe was more skilled than Jordan.
What? What? How many stupid statements can they make in one conversation? Kobe Bryant was more skilled than Michael Jordan? I don't even know if I can fit. Bear with me, folks. There's only about 16 minutes left of this conversation. And that's as far as I'm going to go on this live. I'm just chiming in and having the discussion. People chiming in like LL, or you chime in after the video. LL says, Luka, 23 points. Jalen Brunson, 31 point in win versus San Antonio. This was the first time they start together and looks good with 2 point guards because Luka can't do it all. Okay. Yeah, and Jalen Brunson probably runs around and guards the shiftier, quicker guards like John Morant and Steph Curry to give Luka a break so he can conserve his offense, scoring and running the offense. Okay, LL. I see you a big are you a Luka fan or a Dallas Maverick fan? It doesn't matter. Just curious. Obviously you're a Luka fan, but are you a Dallas Maverick fan? Let me let these guys continue. And I really don't feel like it because what a blasphemous statement to make. Kobe Bryant was more skilled than Michael Jordan. How? In what way? In what way? In what universe? LL says, Mavs fan. Okay. Luka needs an athletic all-star next to him, preferably a big, but it could be another guard too. But he definitely needs an and a Luka fan. Okay, I dig it. He definitely needs an athletic all-star who's preferably plays defense. Someone like Bam Adebayo from the Miami Heat. And I thought that they might have made that trade Porzingis for Adebayo, but Luka needs somebody like that. Somebody who can score, but somebody who also can play shutdown defense. And Bam Adebayo has also had the offense in Miami run through him as well. So he's multifaceted. He needs somebody like that to make a serious push in the playoffs because you have to start playing defense at some point, LL. You just can't you can't score 125, 130 points every game, especially with people who are banged up, they're tired in the playoffs. You're going to have to defend. And that's where the Mavericks issues have been. But I thank you for chiming in. Let's get through this commercial. I'm going to revisit taking these off today. I tried earlier in the week and there was some issue. I don't know what it was.
Skill is not necessarily talent. So, people who are watching, it's not necessarily the talent, it's the skill. Like, so Kobe was more skilled than Jordan.
Joke. Complete joke.
But Jordan was creating those things, the fadeaway, the change of hands, stuff like that he was just
Jordan did not create the fadeaway,
other
dummy.
guys can now duplicate Derrick Rose can change hands.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So the evolution gives you more.
Yeah, and I think that's important when we talk about the new era, new school, is they have so much in front of them to mimic, to copycat, to pattern after. It's hard to do that, but that's really what makes them great.
Yeah. What's so funny is like even with anything, if you say, all right, who's the best? What's the best dunks of all time? Right? Depending on who answers this question, a whole generation will be gone. It will be gone.
I agree with you to that extent because there has been an evolution of the dunk. There has been more creativity in the slam dunk contest, but that's because they had to because it was on the verge of being eliminated from All-Star Weekend because the stars stopped participating in the dunk contest. When LeBron started turning down the dunk contest every year and went downhill because that's what the fans expected. They expected to see the guys who were prime dunkers in the NBA and also all-stars participate in that event, not just guys, the 11th, 12th man off the bench that nobody knew until they announced them in the dunk contest. The dunk contest between Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine was the greatest dunk contest I've ever seen. And I've watched them all up to that point and the ones after. Those two guys put on the greatest dunk contest ever because they had some of the most incredible all-time dunks, and it was actually in the same contest, and they were having dunk-offs. By the way, Aaron Gordon got cheated out of that dunk contest win over Zach LaVine. He just did. Not that Zach put up whack dunks, but Aaron Gordon was just, and both of them were putting up incredible dunks. But there was one round where somebody gave Aaron Gordon a 9 instead of a 10, and that's how he lost. All right. But other than that, Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine put on the greatest dunk contest I've ever seen. Prior to that, it was Vince Carter. All right. So if we want to talk about slam dunk contest, it's of course it's the iconic Dominique Jordan, Spud Webb, 5'7", doing the incredible dunks he did. He has to be mentioned, as well as Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon. All right, but it's only a few minutes left of this. Let's let them continue, guys.
The best dunkers creators are now, of course. You know what I mean? They're the best so, it's not necessarily that they have more hops than anybody. They just got there's more dunks that's been created for them to do, for them to maximize. So if we're watching and we're going through the dunk contest all the way up until probably
Blake Griffin jumping over that Kia that got him all them commercials was a hell of a dunk contest moment as well.
Dominique Wilkins do the same one-handed dunk every year. We better go get it. He's going to do the one-handed, two-handed.
Don't put disrespect on Dominique's name.
At the other time, nobody else could do that.
I know, but what I'm saying is you got to remember, we know what the dunks look like now. So if we go back and say, all right, we're going to put these guys at dunk, everybody's going to be looking at those 80s and 90s guys like, yeah, this isn't it. This isn't it. Like I watched the dunk contest. It was Kenny Smith.
Oh, between the legs off the backboard.
Yeah, between the legs. I was like, I'm pretty sure Candace Parker can do that. At this point. But back then, I was in the
Candace Parker can't do that dunk Kenny Smith did. This almost making me not watch this anymore. Matter of fact, he's pissing me off so much with his stupidity that I think that's it, folks. I can only listen to stupidity but for so long. You have to remember, Kenny Smith is 6'1", 6'2". They called him the Jet because of his outstanding leaping ability to even be in that dunk contest at 6'2", competing against guys 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", 6'9". Candace Parker can barely dunk, much less do the dunk that Kenny the Jet Smith did. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But anyway, guys, I want you guys to chime in because this is an interactive channel. Thank you for chiming in, LL. I want you guys to chime in. If you don't feel comfortable doing it here in the live stream, you think I'm going to get at you, and you want to do it in the comment section after the live, that's fine. I like two things from you guys. I'd like your all-time point guard list. It's very easy to do. List it in the comment section. And I'd like your current all-time point guard list because we can't live in nostalgia forever. Time moves on, time marches on, and you cannot be stuck in the past or gazing out toward the future, but so much you have to stay in the present. All right, so I want your all-time point guard list, and you can take point guards from any era and put them on that top 5. And I'd like your current top 5 guys that are currently active playing today, top 5 point guard list, and your explanations for it if you care to elaborate. All right, so that's a little homework assignment for you guys, and we can talk about it, chop it up in the comment section. I thank you again for joining me. I thank LL. I thank everyone who's ever joined in on the live or chimed in the comment section. Please like, share, subscribe. I would appreciate it. And I'll see you guys soon. All right. This has been Are We in the Golden Era of Point Guards? This has been a discussion featuring Gilbert Arenas and his partner over at Fubu Sports. You can type in Fubu Sports, FUBU Sports, in the YouTube search engine and come up with their content. Thank you guys again for joining me. I'll see you soon. Peace.